Like this when I lay.
Yep. Okay. Now, there are several persons. Casey's coming up. Well, if Casey's up, counting of the elections tonight, where would the elections be? We have online our resident forecaster. We are about 200 before we start this. 200 watching. We want to get up to about 500 in another hour or so. Please share the live, tap the screen. Let's go. So we are going to forecast 31 seats tonight and 31 tomorrow. Casey?
Yes, neighbor.
Okay. Where would you want to start, sir?
Well, it doesn't really matter now. Point us in a direction.
All right.
You must know where you want to leave for tomorrow.
Yes, I'm going to leave St. Catherine and the corporate area for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, and so let's go over to St. Thomas Eastern. St. Thomas Eastern, Michelle Charles is the member of parliament there. How do you see that one?
Neighbor, that is one of the seats I've been forecasting as a battleground coming on. Dr. Michelle Charles maintains a lead in East Portland, in Eastern St. Thomas. And I expect her to take that seat home from here on. And she appears to be getting stronger. Her challenger, Rosemary Shaw, longtime Labourite, knows the politics, knows the ground in St. Thomas, but I don't think she has the organization to be somebody who has the same potential and probably the same numbers. Michelle Charles have maybe as good as an organization as anybody. And for the past year and a half, I can tell you, they have been reorganizing and working in St. Thomas Eastern politically on the ground. The JLP, Michelle Charles and her team, with help from some senior JLP stalwarts. And Eastern St. Thomas is also the constituency that will be impacted most of all the 63 constituency in the country based on the work of the government, because it's widely documented that St. Thomas is probably the parish that is benefiting the most. And since Eastern St. Thomas is the battleground or marginal seat in St. Thomas, you would expect that that's where the impact of the work of the government will show.
All right. Infomedia?
You know, when I hear Casey said about what Michelle Charles carrying in her hat advantage, I think she have a significant advantage in her hat with the government investment in St. Thomas and with the resources that the Charles family has. And as Casey says, she has been working, reorganizing at the shows, and with a political dynamo at her shoulder, one James Robertson, I think she have the tools and the muscle, and she will bring it home.
All right. The seat, Casey, St. Thomas Western, is a safer seat than Eastern, is it not?
Well, safe depends on the perspective. You mean safe for JLP?
For JLP, yes.
Yes. It's a safe JLP seat. It's one that the PNP will take a shot at in the event that PNP maybe come out of the election with maybe a 7 to 8 point lead and is taking some seat. It's one they would take a shot at in that scenario. In any other scenario, it's a JLP seat. And I don't see the scenario where PNP will come out with a lead, not to mention a big lead.
So then, Infomedia, we don't need to spend a lot of time on James Robertson's seat. That one is in the.
As I said before, James Robertson's seat carry a lot of weight in terms of Ed Michelle Charles win back the seat, and I think James Robertson continue to win that seat by increasing margin each time. You can check the history every time there's a general election. West St. Thomas has increased their margin.
Okay. All right. So St. Thomas is 2-2 for the Jamaica Labour Party. KC?
2-0.
2-0 for the Jamaica Labour Party. KC, let's come over to we're gonna leave some of the parishes Jamaica Girl for next week. But let's come over to Clarendon, KC. Clarendon has 6 constituencies there. Let's start with Southeastern, where Pernell Charles is. The Labour Party is expected to retain that one.
Yes, definitely. Even if things are rocky in Clarendon Southeastern, at best, I expect the JLP to win it by 1,000 votes.
That. Yeah. At worst.
Yes, I expect the JLP to win it by 1,000 votes.
Right, and so we're going to move on to Central Clarendon. There's a new candidate there, Casey, but that remains a safe JLP seat.
Yes, there have been some nice and some mischief, but Derai Williams will retain the seat for the JLP with ease.
Yes. Infomedia, you agree with those two?
I think the second strongest JLP seat is in Clarendon. The second strongest JLP seat in the island is in Clarendon, and that is Central Clarendon.
No question about that at all. North Central, KC, where Robert Morgan is, that remains a pretty.
There's always a bit of fanfare over there. It's always a battleground campaign over there, but it's not necessarily a battleground seat. Sometimes the campaign is competitive because both parties have strong support, but unless the JLP are way behind and having an underwhelming campaign, the JLP will have the numbers in North Central Clarendon. And Robert Nesta Morgan have done enough. The people in North Central Clarendon don't have reason to turn away from Robert Nesta Morgan, nor do they have reason to turn away from the JLP. So I don't see anything for the PNP to benefit from. PNP at their best will come within 1,000 to 700 votes, but I think it's one the JLP will take home comfortably.
Okay, so that's 3 seats in Clarendon so far that we are projecting, forecasting for the Jamaica Labour Party. KC Southwestern remains a very strong PNP seat. They're expected to hold on to this one.
Yes, neighbor. I see the JLP have catapulted Robert Chin down there, and he is doing some political work, but I think Southwest Clarendon is too strong for any JLP candidate at the moment. Lowton Cousin will retain it comfortably.
All right, so
I can even give you some news of strategy, because the PNP seem to think that Southwest Clarendon is so much in the bag that Lowton Cousins and others is planning to take their resources over to Southeast to see what they can do.
All right. Okay, so that's 3-1 in Clarendon so far in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party. That leaves us with the Northern Belt in Clarendon. These two are more competitive, Casey.
Yes, those are where the battleground is normally. And I keep telling you, Northwest Clarendon, it's a battleground seat, and Warren Newby can be the X factor because that ground is fertile for the JLP. Across the Frankfield and the Thompson division, there is strong JLP numbers, and they have the bigger numbers than the numbers in Riches and Spalding. One thing for sure, Spalding division will come out flying for PNP. And if nobody else vote, they will vote. So what the JLP essentially need to do is go around the terrain of the constituency and make sure they get out the number. And I can tell you, Warren Newby knows the politics, and he has the team, and he has been doing the work. I think JLP will edge Northwest Clarendon.
Infomedia?
You know, I can't help to say Casey knows his politics because Warren Newby is a political dynamo. And Frankfield division is the largest division in Northwest Clarendon. And the Thompson Town division is a small margin. But as knowing Warren personally, he knows the politics well. He has the backing of several members of parliament around that constituency. As an have a hill to climb up, can he climb that hill? Ongo time will tell. I give Warren 1,000 margin win in that seat.
That's a significant number, Info.
Based on what I know about the seat, it's going to take a Herculean effort by Azan to beat that young man, and that young man is a wily fox, and I give him 1,000 vote margin win over Azan.
And I can also tell you that he knows that constituency. He have won it before, not as a candidate, but Warren
as a campaign manager. But as a campaign manager, Casey, yes, as a campaign manager. So he knows the number. He knows what is there. He knows the number is there. He knows the numbers in that seat.
Fantastic. The cricketer over in Northern, cricketer Wavell Hines, Casey, is challenging Sibley's. Do you think he'll be outstumped?
That's a very tricky constituency, formerly represented by none other than Horace Daly, former health minister. The people loved in the constituency. Dwight Sibley's is a first-term MP. He had some challenges in the constituency. Politically, though, he is very good. And if you go on the ground in sections of the constituency, you will hear rumbling that he will not be supported again. While in sections of the constituency, you will hear that Sibley's is the man and they don't want PNP. That tells me that is a 50-50 seat. But I go back to the local government election numbers, and that was the PNP's strongest election in almost 20 years. Well, maybe 15 years. And neighbor, Northern Clarendon, the JLP take it home by over 300 votes. And I'm using that as a marker because Northern Clarendon is one of the seats the PNP held on to when the JLP regained power in 2016. That's to show you how strong it is and how much it normally leans PNP. And if this local government election that PNP is still claiming victory for, they didn't bring home Northern Clarendon in, I don't think they will bring it home in the general election a year and a half later. And another thing I must point out, the Anian Town division, whenever the PNP win that constituency, they win the Anian Town division by over 300 votes. There was a hotly contested battleground. There was a hotly contested local election by election, and the PNP only managed to win Anian Town by 50. And that is showing me a sign. And the Northern Belt will go together once again.
Wow, Infomedia, will Sibley's pull it off?
I will say Sibley's will win. I think he have something working for him in that seat, but I won't say. I know he has a strong chance, and I'll give him the edge by at least 300 votes again.
Wow. Let's go to Tari to get the review. Listeners, we are giving you 2 evenings of forecasting this week. This evening, and tomorrow evening. You can't afford to miss it. Tari's here. Tari, do you want to review for us in 2 minutes, quickly?
Sure, neighbor.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while. So, listeners, just for your benefit, we are essentially going over the numbers for each parish in terms of how much seats each party in each parish will receive. So far we have done St. Thomas and Clarendon. So I'm just gonna give you for those. So in St. Thomas we have the Jamaica Labour Party essentially being re-elected in both seats. So that's the JLP having 2 seats in St. Thomas to the PNP's 0 or 0. And in Clarendon, we have the Jamaica Labour Party being re-elected to all 5 seats that it has, and the PNP being re-elected to the 1 seat it has, which is Clarendon South Western. So currently, right now, the
result?
The Labour Party would have 7 seats to the People's National Party 1.
7-1 in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party so far. Let's jump over to Manchester, KC. What Manchester looking like for you? Let's start with Southern Manchester. All right. So KC is
Yes, neighbor.
yes, sir. We are in Manchester, and the opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, is challenging Ian Ives. How are things there?
Yes, Peter Bunting is in South Manchester, and he's a very lucky fellow. He's a very lucky fellow because the JLP have dropped the ball in South Manchester and have missed an opportunity. South Manchester voted for the JLP for the first time in probably 36 years. Robert Chin got the nod as Member of Parliament. He didn't do a good job in organizing his troop, empowering his workers and his team so they can help him do a job, and it caused mischief and contention among Labourites in the constituency, and that subsequently led to he being ousted in an internal election where Ian Ives got the nod. However, I always thought the party should have bring all 3 men together and have Robert Chin, Adrian Peart, and Ian Ives work in the seats together. I think the JLP dropped the ball by sending Chin elsewhere and sending Peart elsewhere, after the 3 of them riled up their respective support and would have brought all the JLP votes and well-wishers together in the constituency. I think they were left depleted despite some photo have been taken. So it's up to Ives. I don't know much about Ives' team. I haven't seen much. I went on the ground maybe 1 or 2 times since that, and I haven't seen much. But I see Peter Bunting and the PNP all over. What I can tell you is that the PNP have reorganized and galvanized their support, and they have the bigger base in South Manchester. So from here on, regrettably, it looks as if it is advantage PNP and Peter Bunting, despite the fact that the JLP have so much promise in the constituency and have so much to work with. And the PNP also dropped the ball by sending Peter Bunting, who is supposed to be a non-factor based on the fact that he was a 3-star general over in central Manchester. Then on his 4th attempt, he was beaten by Rhoda Mike Crawford, and he didn't do enough to give him an opportunity to return to the people for re-election. And they sent him next door to South Manchester, despite the fact that he have been in central Manchester for 13 years and does not have a legacy over there. But as I said, the JLP have a lot to work with, have a lot to campaign on, and have the right person to campaign against. But I don't think they're making good work of it at the moment. one thing I can tell you, there's a wind blowing in Manchester and there's a strong JLP team across the parish, and Ian Ives may benefit, but as far as I can see, I'm not here to mislead people or tell lie in favor of any party. As far as I can see, the PNP are leading in South Manchester.
That would be a pickup for the People's National Party. Infomedia, how do you see that?
I think Bunting has give Ian Hiles a sniff of a chance to go into Parliament by making those utterances on the platform about the buses. If Ian Hiles can package that mistake by Bunting, he will may send Bunting to political retirement. Knowing Bunting is a political animal, you can't leave nothing chance. It's very tricky. And if Ian Niles don't play his card right, Bunting will go back to Parliament. So it's up to Ian Niles to organize and reorganize and pull out all the stops. And I have a little bit of confidence that Ian Niles can pull it off, because Bunting is a damaged goods and you have to know how to package damaged goods and get rid of it.
There you go. Jump up to Central there for me, Casey. Central Manchester, how is road looking there?
Central Manchester, it's a total different story. It's one of the seats that JLP have gotten the nod and have taken the opportunity with both hands. Both hands. Rhoda Mai Crawford is been dubbed as the hardest MP in the country. In and out of the constituency, there is work, people are seeing her work, and she is an MP who can campaign and performance, and not necessarily the performance of central government, but the performance of Rhoda Mai Crawford as an MP. That counts for something, and the voters in Manchester Central are very intelligent voters. They don't vote off a particular narrative. They vote based on what is happening, where they can, of what they can see, and they will vote for Rhoda Mai Crawford. They will not want to lose that MP, and they will also vote for the Jamaica Labour Party government. Donovan Mitchell have been councillor for the Royal Flat Division for over 20 years, I think. They experience his representation, and they are now experiencing him as a mayor, and he's somewhat of a pandemic, yes. And for a section of Central Manchester, in particular Royal Flat and the Mandeville Market and Brooks Park, it feels for them as if the pandemic is not yet over, because they still are being led by Donovan Mitchell. So I don't see any factor that points to Donovan Mitchell winning. People talking about Skengdang is backing him. Skengdang have always been in Manchester, have always been influenced who he can influence. But I think this one is bigger than any one man backing a candidate. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is strong enough a candidate to win, even with the help of Kenneth Black.
There you go. Info?
You know, when I look at Central Manchester, Rhoda Crawford is a political gem for the Labour Party and a rare find, and a future leader one day, and a future minister, and should consider what she should be recognized after a political career that she was a stalwart for the party. But my problem
Did you say a future leader, sir?
Yes, I did. And my problem, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I said she looks to be a future leader. If God's bid, she can be the first woman leader of the Great Jamaica Labour Party. But when I look at the Central Manchester seat, my problem is in Belfield Division. Is the Belfield Division have the most firepower to overcome the rest of 3 divisions? When I look at the seat, what Donovan Mitchell is banking on? The Belfield Division, yes. They are banking on the Belfield Division. It's going in the Belfield Division, it's going to come down to a conscience vote. Who have the conscience? I give Rhoda a significant advantage in that seat, and I think she can come on by 500 votes.
That's also my number.
Wow. Okay. Casey, you want to go up to northeastern Manchester? How is Audrey Marks up there?
Neighbor, I've been telling you over and over again, Manchester Northeastern I've been forecasting that Mr. Valentine Wind is leading, and I explain to the voters every week, he is leading because it's essentially a one-horse race. As soon as the JLP put a horse in the race, Val Wind may be in trouble. And this horse is a Manchester horse, not a Northeast Manchester horse. RJ Marks has the wind blowing in a different direction in Manchester, because the team that RJ Marks has will be the team leading the politics in Manchester, and that team will also influence Manchester Central and Manchester Northwest heavily. Northeast Manchester also borders Northwest Clarendon, which is of significant help for newbie. It also borders South Trelawny. However, I am happy to report that Marisa Dalrymple Philibert doesn't need help from anybody. She will be Paul Patmore in her seat. But back to RJ Marks. RJ Marks will win comfortably. And it's a sad old story for Valentine Win. It will not be third time lucky, despite the hype he got in the early part of the campaign when he was campaigning against thin air. And don't watch that big crowd that was in Christiana recently. That's the whole of Manchester, section of Trelawny, section of Clarendon, section of St. Elizabeth, and a whole lot of southern St. Andrew.
Info?
When you look at Northeast Manchester, you look at a hardly short seat. When you look at the candidate from the PNP, you look at a damaged goods, somebody who wants to reincarnate themselves and to go into Parliament. Val Wint has gone over in Southwest St. Ann. Xavier has packaged him and carried him to Riverton City. The PNP has gone back to Riverton, brush him off and carry him back to Northeast. They shall carry him back here in 2016. And the PNP gone back to Val Wint, carry him back again into the sea. So the Labour Party know how to package bad goods, and they will package him as usual and carry him back where he once was.
Val Wint will not win, eh?
No.
Good,
You can't win with wit.
Yes. All right. On the seat we have left in Manchester is Northwestern. Michael Phillips, Damian Young. How do you see that one?
Infomedia, take that one.
You know, when I look at Northwest Manchester with Michael Phillips and the young man Damian Young, it's going to be a conscience vote. And if I look at the conscience vote, Damian Young is leading. I think Damian Young need a little bit of resources. And if the people truly with Damian Young, I think he can edge out Michael Phillips. I don't know the number, but I think he can edge him out. And it is I would give Damian Young advantage. It's our best Damian Young organized on the day. So I give Damian Young advantage now until the organization on the day.
Yes, I keep on saying Michael Phillips will have a particular number, somewhere between 6,600 and maybe 6,900. And it's up to Damian Young to canvass, make sure he have some resources, human resources as much as financial resources. Yes. Make sure he has a strong machinery on the ground. It will be a vibrant Northeast Manchester that will spill over into Northwest. And Damian Young is an X factor. He will be getting about 600 votes that other candidate wouldn't have got. So it's a plus for him. I think he can take this one. I still think it's 50-50 because
it will come down to organization on the day. And why I said come down to organization, the PNP are wash with cash. Don't fool ourselves. The PNP is a wash with cash. Don't fool ourselves. And, and they are planning to buy seat $40 million per one. I said it on my live before. And if the PNP got their chance to spend in that seat, Damian Young would have to organize on the day. Yes, Damian Young have the advantage in terms of sympathy vote and people see him as their future member of parliament, but it all comes down to how you organize on the day.
Well, I guess it takes cash to care. But that's an interesting one. And I'm going with Damien Young.
I am going with him too. But
Tari, give us the number so far.
Yes, neighbor. All right. So, listeners, again, for your benefit, we are going through the parishes and highlighting the number of constituencies under each parish that each party will receive. Currently, we are at the parish of Manchester, so I'll just start with there and then go upwards to the ones that we had already done. In Manchester, the JLP is projected to receive three seats, flipping the seat of Manchester Northwestern, that's with current Member of Parliament Michael Phillips, and giving that to JLP candidate Damien Young. But the JLP is projected to lose Manchester Southern to the People's National Party candidate Peter Bunting. The current Member of Parliament there is Robert Chin, but Robert Chin is campaigning in Clarendon, and the current candidate for the JLP there is Ian Ives. We did Clarendon before, where the Jamaica Labour Party is projected to be re-elected in all 5 seats that they have there, whilst the People's National Party is projected to be re-elected in the 1 seat that they have in Clarendon. In St. Thomas, there's also no change there. The Jamaica Labour Party is expected to win back the 2 seats they have there. So currently, the Jamaica Labour Party has 10 seats to the 2 seats for the People's National Party.
Fantastic. Let's jump over to St. Elizabeth. St. Bess, there are 4 constituencies there. KC, how do you see those? Let's start with Southern, St. Elizabeth, Southeastern.
The JLP is strong and will take the south coast of St. Elizabeth by storm. Southeast St. Elizabeth, Frank Witter. The challenger is Norman Dunn. I know he has a lot of resources, but JLP organization and strength in that constituency will speak volume. And they will not vote out Frank Witter, the State Minister of Agriculture. And from what I'm hearing, he has been a phenomenal MP, and he's a family man down in Southeast St. Elizabeth. And
not Norman Dunn, KC, Norman Scott.
Oh, Norman Scott. Oh, sorry, Mr. Dunn. Sorry, Mr. Dunn. Yes, Norman Scott from Spanish Town. Oh, what I meant was Norman Scott is essentially done right here. Yes, Franklin Witter will send him into political retirement. Down in Southwest, I keep on telling you, from the Gleaner and Dan Anderson and Miranda Wellington started making their noise. I tell you every week here, neighbor, that Floyd Green seat is a safe seat. And if the PNP wants to win the election, they will have to change which seat is the Weathervane seat, because they have no chance in Southwest St. Elizabeth.
No chance in Southwestern.
Absolutely no chance. And this will be the heaviest defeat a candidate have ever gotten in Southwest St. Elizabeth. And it will be Miranda Wellington. And
hold on there, Casey. You are saying that this Weathervane seat, that Floyd Green is going to win heavily there.
Heavily. The heaviest win in Southwest St. Elizabeth will be this win by Floyd Green. No chance for Miranda Wellington. Peace of far.
The Weathervane seat in St. Elizabeth, Southwestern, the Labour Party is carrying that by lots of points, eh?
Yes. And even before that blew that point.
and political platform and expect to get the same respect. So a teacher girl now, she run up and down and she make nice, and the teacher girl get what, and the teacher girl tell all kind of something, and the teacher girl say what. But when you're a teacher girl, you shall remain a teacher girl. Parliament no one teacher girl. Parliament was professional representative in Parliament. So she will remain a teacher girl. As always, a teacher girl will always forever be a teacher girl.
Why is she a girl though?
You command respect when you go on political platform. You don't demand it. So that's why she's a teacher girl.
You're not
He's
wrong.
he's not referring to her age or her status. He's referring to her behavior.
I see. She behaves like a girl. Well, I see. Okay. So then, Casey, cover the other two seats. Let's do St. Elizabeth Northwestern.
St. Elizabeth Northwestern is the seat in St. Elizabeth the JLP held in 2011 when they lost 3-1 in St. Elizabeth. And they won that one comfortably in 2011. At that particular point, the PNP won 2/3 of the constituencies across Jamaica. This election is nothing like election. This election, anybody is winning 2/3 is the JLP. And with even the retirement of William J.C. Hutchinson, Andrew Morris looks comfortable as J.C. Hutchinson ever looked. And Andrew Morris will take home Northwest St. Elizabeth for the JLP with ease. The seat that's supposed to be the battleground based on the historical data and the numbers is Northeast St. Elizabeth. Delroy slowly has held firm and is staving off the challenge of Zuleika Jess and slowly is still in the lead. Zuleika have not gained enough traction to pass Delroy slowly as yet. So this is a very interesting one going down to the wire. And with the strength of the JLP in St. Elizabeth, I expect that slowly will continue in the ascendancy and will run home ahead of Zuleika Jess 5 p.m. after the poll on election day. So I think St. Elizabeth will go 4-0 again.
The Jamaica Labour Party is winning 4 seats in St. Elizabeth, sir?
Yes, and I think if the PNP can win any, it's Northeast, where Delroy Slowly is. And I think Slowly is a formidable candidate. And the conscience vote is for Delroy Slowly, not for Zuleika Jess.
Info, Jamaica Labour Party 4-0 in St. Elizabeth.
Labour Party, Jamaica Labour Party, St. Elizabeth is one of their strongest parishes. It's on St. Ann. I have every confidence that is a 4-0 because, as I said before, St. Elizabeth and St. Ann is 2 of their strongest parish, and I think they will keep their momentum. And what should put the icing on the cake, anytime the Prime Minister and party leader of the Labour Party decide to tour St. Elizabeth is a foregone conclusion, hello neighbor.
4-0 in St. Elizabeth, sir?
4-0. And you can take that to the bank.
What you saying to me?
I've been in St. Elizabeth for the past 2 months, and every time I go to St. Elizabeth, it gets greener and greener by the day. And they will trounce the PNP 4-0 again.
Listeners, the Jamaica Labour Party is winning 4-0 in St. Elizabeth, including the historic Weathervane seat with Floyd Green. And the guys are telling me tonight that there's not even a competition there. Huh? Wow. My goodness. Case Tari,
Yes, neighbor.
there are 400 people up on screen listening to you now. Go ahead and tell them what the results are so far.
All right, listeners, so far, we have the Jamaica Labour Party nationally speaking with 14 seats, to the People's National Party 2 seats. So far, we have been in the parishes of St. Thomas, where the JLP is expected to keep the 2 that they have. Clarendon, the JLP is expected to keep the 5 that they have, and the PNP is expected to keep the 1 seat that they have in Clarendon. In Manchester, the JLP is expected to keep 2 seats as well as flip the seat of Manchester Northwestern, whilst the PNP is expected to flip the seat of Manchester Southern, thus keeping it at 3-1. And in St. Elizabeth, the JLP is expected to take all 4 seats. So again, the total for that, the Jamaica Labour Party, nationally speaking, is at 14 seats to the 2 seats for the People's National Party.
Huh. My God. Wow. Okay. Let's go over to Westmoreland, KC. Let's start with Westmoreland Eastern. Is Daniel Lawrence hanging on there?
Daniel Lawrence is hanging on, neighbor, but I don't know for how much longer. And I really think the PNP is in the lead in Eastern, despite Daniel Lawrence hanging on. I think it's the strongest seat for the PNP in Westmoreland, that Eastern Westmoreland seat. And it will be a battleground on election day. It will not be a safe seat. There are no safe seats in Westmoreland. And Daniel Lawrence is the silent killer, neighbor. He's a less talk about candidate in the parish, and he have been working. I got that from the ground. He have been working. He's respected in the constituency. He knows the ground. I can tell you that based on the political history and the numbers, you would expect that the People's National Party candidate, that Dayton Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell, should be the clear favorite. He is the favorite, but there's no clear daylight between him and Daniel Lawrence. But it's slightly leaning PNP.
Westmoreland Eastern leans PNP. Infomedia?
You know, when I look at Westmoreland Eastern, a former seat of PJ Pattison, and it continues to be a marginal seat. And with the factor with Luther Buchan seems like he's going to run independent. And with the love of Daniel Lawrence, of the people, because Daniel Lawrence is from Eastern Westmoreland. While the PNP said one more damaged goods again, that one shall be packed neatly and sent back to Bamboo in Senton where he once was. Because in this day and age, why the PNP have so much damaged goods going around marketing? When goods are damaged, goods are damaged. And in this political time and hate, we don't want nobody damaging Parliament. Once you are damaged, you need to go home, or you find church, or you do personal business. No damaged goods in Parliament, neighbor.
but info. You can't send back Dayton to Bamboo. They won't accept him there.
He needs to go back to Bamboo, correct him Bamboo.
Crystal Lee owns that town now.
Okay, Central KC?
Yes, I understand that Luther Buchanan is not running independent, and I think the Dayton Cambridge would be happy with that. You remember he was crying to Peter Shan last election down in Northwest. So it's the same story for him, because he thought that Peter Shan had tanked his campaign and allowed Crystal Lee to run him over. So he would be a very unlucky man if Luther Buchanan was to do the same thing. He would not survive if that was to happen, neighbor. You say Central.
Go to Central.
Yes, the PNP have reinstalled the JLP have reinstalled the candidate that the PNP is afraid of. And that is George Wright. As far as the PNP is concerned, they have a candidate in Dwayne Vaz. I hear the PNP talking about breaking the vase. The only vase that is broken in the political space is Dwayne Vaz. And the PNP want to replace him and cannot find candidate to replace him. I tell you, neighbor, if me, you, Tari, and Infomedia should go over to the PNP, we will get 4 seats to run, because the PNP don't have anybody to run. Nobody wants to run on the PNP ticket. They don't want Vaz, and they cannot find a candidate to replace him. So the PNP is damaging Central Westmoreland, and George Wright will take it home once more. Infomedia.
You know, as Casey said, the PNP is damaging Central Westmoreland. I have my little spies in Westmoreland, and I'm telling you right now, the executive of the PNP Central Westmoreland still cannot understand or find the formula to counter what George Wright have in the seat. I think the PNP, it's a foregone conclusion where Central Westmoreland is concerned, because you can't have a vase and it don't clean out itself. Because when you go to people's house, and you look at anywhere to hold vase, it must be a clean vase, and that's a dirty vase, and people don't want any dirty vase in their house. So, as a foregone conclusion, George Wright is the right, and just so the politics say, nothing but the right judge. The right
Hold on. Yes. Okay. So that Central Westmoreland will be retained by the Jamaica Labour Party, says the forecast here. And then the final one in Westmoreland, Casey, is West.
Very interesting. Western Westmoreland. It's another battleground seat, and I've been saying, let's see who will be the strongest in trying to lose this seat, because one of the candidates will lose it. Either Dr. Garfield James or Ian Hales. For Ian Hales, another damaged goods package from next door. And I don't understand the PNP's geographical sense. I don't know, why would you send a candidate from Hanover Western to Westmoreland Western, the neighboring constituency, that you can step from one to the other. Ian Hales have been the MP for Hanover Western since 2007. He lost and couldn't go back to the people to ask to be re-elected. And they sent him next door, where the people knows all about him, don't like him because he don't have any legacy. Just like his predecessor, Dr. Wickham McNeil. Couldn't ask the people to give him another nod. But he have gone next door, where they have seen his work or his delinquencies. So the PNP have dropped the bar here.
You know, when you look at Ian Hales, you wonder what Ian Hales doing in Westmoreland. Because sometimes you can get sometime as a barber or a makeup artist, you can make over some people and package them. Ian Hales is a hard man to package, you know. I don't know how they're going to package him. But we have to send him somewhere. Either we send him to one of those well, when never pump water from, either we send him one of those river, but Ian Hales can't go to Parliament. His time in Parliament is over.
And
Ian Hales must understand.
Western Westmoreland people are no fools, you know.
You understand? So his time in Parliament over.
Dr. Wickham McNeil.
He's a tough man to package, and there's no package for him. So me don't know where I'm going to go, where I'm going to do, but Dr. Garfield James will represent those people in Western Westmoreland.
And another thing, neighbor, and more work on Western Westmoreland, I realize.
Yes.
Western Westmoreland had Wickham McNeil for 5 consecutive elections. He lost and couldn't turn back to the people and offer his representation to them. Ian Hales did basically the same thing next door. And do you think they will turn to another Wickham McNeil in the form of Ian Hales? The PNP have dropped the ball. Then the JLP dropped the ball because of the internal struggles with Moreland Wilson and his team. And I was a public supporter of Moreland Wilson before I did some more digging. And if you cannot handle your team and make everybody feel inclusive and appreciated, you cannot handle the constituency. And that's why people like Robert Chin and Moreland Wilson got into trouble. You got to administrate from your lieutenants so you can spread love. If you cannot unite the people closest to you, you cannot run a team because a constituency is very big.
So the final outcome in Western Westmoreland is 2-1.
3-0. 3-0.
3-0 says Infomedia. I still have both Western and Eastern to be battleground. I think the wind is blowing in the JLP direction, but I will not call them as yet for the JLP, but I have Western and Eastern as full on
the
battleground.
central come home.
Because I
Why I
cannot
said
say-
it's 3-0. Well, on Casey, I have been in the parish twice. And as I said to you before, just like how the parish of St. Elizabeth is waiting on the presence of the Prime Minister and party leader to put the ice on the cake, anytime Andrew Holness turned down that spur tree and head to anywhere in Westmoreland, it shall be a 3-0. So I'm putting it 3-0.
Well, it could be because it have happened before, as recently as 2020. But I also show...
What is the politics plus? What is the politics plus forecast, Casey?
With this, I also shows respect to the historical data. And the people in Western Westmoreland and Eastern Westmoreland have voted for nothing over the years. And I don't know how much their mental capacity have improved.
But let me say something to you, Casey.
Yes.
I have been at the ground. Why I confident of this 3-0? I would surprise them. And what will shy away the PNP pan the poll? They see the type of work being done. They want to be a part of a developed parish, and I don't think they will sell it for nothing. And I know the Prime Minister is gathering some serious political steam. And if the JLP gets their machinery right, which I know they will, I am fully confident that a 3-0 is a writing on the wall in Westmoreland.
Well, the 3-0 is highly possible for the JLP. It's not possible for the PNP because the PNP will not win Central Westmoreland. I have the JLP to win Central Westmoreland. I know the wind is blowing in the JLP direction across Westmoreland based on the polls. And I don't see where Westmoreland have offered good candidates to the people for them to vote PNP. But as I said, historically they have voted for PNP for nothing over the years. So
Thank you.
let's see
thank you,
how
thank
much
you, thank you, listeners. We almost at 500. 500
I will still say it's one up to JLP and the other two are battleground with West and Eastern both locked in. I will say momentum is with the JLP, but I will not call those seats JLP as yet.
Good God. It appears as if the third term is loading. Tari?
It has loaded, neighbor.
Tari? Help me out here, Tari. Help me out here.
Yes, so hold on. Just before I go through everything again, so Casey, what is the understanding for Westmoreland? Just want to clarify that.
I think at this point the PNP does not have a seat in Westmoreland. I think it's leaning JLP, but I will call both Western and Eastern as battleground. I think they are that close. I think half of the people are expecting the PNP to win down there, and half of the people are expecting the JLP. The JLP should have won Western Westmoreland easy, but they have made some mistakes, and they are correcting the mistake with Dr. Garfield James, but I think I need some more time to call it for the JLP. And with the PNP having the General Secretary in Eastern Westmoreland, and I know they will put all the resources, human and financial resources, behind him. So it will not be easy. So I'll say it's another battleground seat. I'll say they are 250-50. If I have to call them, I will call them both based on where the wind is blowing. I would say they are leaning JLP, but I wouldn't call them for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Let's do the review. Let's do the review.
Because for me that have been on the ground in Westmoreland, I have to use other data. I have to use a lot of other factors to do the forecasting.
Listeners, the Jamaica Labour Party seem to be winning the election. And as a matter of fact, they seem to be winning it quite convincingly. If these numbers hold, and these are the projections for the last 3 months, some little minor changes, the Jamaica Labour Party is doing very well, and they are actually taking the election in a convincing manner. Tari, help us.
Yes, neighbor. Thank you for that introduction. So currently we have done 19 seats across the island, and I'm going to start with St. Thomas. In St. Thomas,
Yes.
the Labour Party is expected to retain both seats. That's Western and Eastern. With
Tell us the candidates.
Dr.
Tell us the candidates, Tari.
Right. With wait, why am I forgetting his name? With Dr. Michelle Charles in St. Thomas Eastern and James Robertson in St. Thomas Western. In Clarendon, the Jamaica Labour Party is expected to retain the 5 seats that they currently have, which would be Clarendon Southeastern for Pernell Charles, Clarendon Central. This would be Delroy Williams, Clarendon Northwestern. That's what again? Robert Nesta Morgan.
Yes.
Yes.
North Central.
North Central is Nesta.
North Central. Thank you. North Central is Nesta. Northwestern is Warren Newby. And Northern is Dwight Sibley's.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. While the PNP is expected to retain the 1 seat it has in Clarendon, that's Southwest Clarendon, with Member of Parliament Lothan Cousins. We go to Manchester.
Yes.
Where
And
the Jamaica Yes, Casey.
I think Jamaican girl may have given you the notes with all the candidates written down. You should also mention the challenger, so the viewers can have a better understanding, because sometimes they know the candidate of one party or the other.
But
Sometimes it's their party, and remember there are PNP supporters on here as well.
All right, let me load up the thing again and just give you the opposition.
No, you can do that. You can do that.
No, you can do that.
Or you want me to do that?
You can do that when we come back to you, yeah?
Oh, okay, when you come back.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
13 minutes after.
All right.
We have to push.
All right, so in Manchester, the JLP is expected to retain 2 and flip the seat of Manchester Northwestern. So they would retain Rhoda Crawford's seat of Manchester Central, retain Manchester Northeast with Audrey Marks, and pick up Manchester Northwestern for Damian Young. The PNP is expected to flip Manchester Southern with their candidate Peter Bunting. In St. Elizabeth, the JLP is expected to retain all 4 seats. Southwest St. Elizabeth Floyd Green, Southeast Franklin Whitton, Northeast St. Elizabeth being Delroy Slowly, and Northwest St. Elizabeth being Andrew Morris. In Westmoreland, at this point, I can tell you that Westmoreland Central is expected to be retained for the Jamaica Labour Party with George Wright. Westmoreland Eastern and Western, they are still seen as battleground seats. However, the wind is blowing with the Jamaica Labour Party. So I'm not sure if I should give a definite count for that seat, neighbor, given
the advantage.
But advantage JLP, but advantage too close to call, right?
Yes. All right. So how many seats had we gone so far, Tari?
Alright, so in this case, the Jamaica Labour Party would have, let's see here, 8, 10, 4, they would have 15 seats plus the 2 if you're counting the wind blowing for the JLP in Eastern and Western.
No, don't put those. Don't
count those. Alright, don't count those. Alright, cool. So it's 15 seats for the JLP, and we're still at 2 seats for the PNP.
15-2 in favor of the Labour Party.
Right.
The forecast is always
and the other 2, as we said, are battlegrounds. As of now, too close to call.
What's the total?
So the total, as in number of seats, we've been 19.
The number of seats we have projected, we have forecast so far.
Yes, so that would be 19 seats, neighbor.
19 and 15 is Labour and 2 PNP.
Is PNP.
And 2 are too close to call.
Right, neighbor.
What if we can give those 2 to the UIC?
Oh boy.
Yes. All right. Take seriously make joke. But Tari, the Labour Party is doing exceptionally well. Tari?
Yes, they are. They are. Yes, I'd agree.
Uh-huh. They're doing well. I'm actually very, very surprised. Let's jump over to Hanover, then KC. We have online, by the way, listeners, our resident forecaster, KC own boss. And we are joined for this special edition by Infomedia. They're both helping us to project, forecast the results of the 2025 general elections that are going to be called soon. Let's jump over to Hanover. And in Hanover, we have two constituencies, Eastern Hanover and Western Hanover. Eastern Hanover is represented by Dave Brown for the Jamaica Labour Party, and Western by Tamika Davis, also of the Jamaica Labour Party. Casey, let us start with Western Hanover. How is Jamaica looking there? Is she losing it? Is she losing that?
Neighbor, when we started forecasting, the blue dot poll that people say favors the JLP had the PNP with 65 to 35% lead in the parish of Hanover. PNP has taken Hanover by storm as far as blue dot poll was concerned. And remember, blue dot poll is the poll that people say normally favors the JLP. I told you that by the turn of the election, Hanover will be 50-50 again. And 3 months on, it was significantly closer. The JLP would have recovered as far as the poll is concerned in Hanover. And it comes down to this, neighbor.
Yes, sir.
The PNP can win 2 constituencies in Hanover and can't touch the election. If the JLP win 1 constituency in Hanover, that tells me that the JLP is winning at least 38 seats. And if the JLP win both,
don't go so fast. Don't go too fast. Yes, okay. If the PNP, you are saying that the PNP could win both seats in Hanover, and lose the election badly,
and lose the election handsomely.
But if the JLP is winning one of the Hanover seat,
they are winning
at least 38 seats.
Yes, 37, 38.
What is the basis for that rationale?
If the JLP is winning both seats in Hanover, they are winning at least 50, 49, 50. Because yes. Because what the rationale is, I'm telling the listeners that after 15 PNP seats that the JLP flipped in 2020, Hanover Western is the most likely to go back to the PNP.
Yes?
Yes.
In other words, if the PNP is not flipping Western Hanover, it is losing the elections badly.
Yes.
Repeat those thoughts, Casey. I beg you, please repeat them for us.
As I said, based on my numbers, if the PNP, if the JLP is winning at least 1 constituency in Hanover, they're winning at least 37 seats. The JLP can lose both the Hanover constituency and still win the election easily, the complete election. If the JLP is winning both seats in Hanover, they're winning north of 49 seats. Because after 49 seats, the JLP have the most likely one for the PNP to flip is Hanover Western.
Why is that so?
That's where they have the biggest lead. That's where they have the biggest lead consistently. And the Tamika Davis, the JLP MP, have gotten the most stick. And most people have written off the JLP in Hanover, and that's because of the PNP strength in Western Hanover. And I did a little poll, neighbor.
Yes,
after I come to the conclusion that the
Boy, this is exciting stuff. Boy, I tell you something. This is amazing. You know. This is absolutely. Listeners, are you hearing this? Are you hearing what the forecaster is saying? Huh? Yes, Casey.
yes. After I realized
this is a wave.
After I realizing that the JLP have recovered 50-50 in Hanover, I realized that the JLP have taken a lead, a significant lead in EP must have been leading in Hanover Western.
My God.
Then I call about 5 of my contacts across Western Hanover, and all of them are telling me that the PNP is most likely to win Western. So I think they are strong in Western. Very strong.
In media?
I said earlier on the last time I was here, I leave both seats on election night. And I stick by that.
Okay. Casey? It almost deserves a moment of silence. What I'm hearing here tonight, it almost requires a moment of silence. Listeners, are you okay? Are you okay there? Are you okay with what you're hearing? Are you okay? Do you need a break or something? Do you huh? Boy, I tell you, this is. Let me see if I can just give me a minute. The Jamaica Labour Party is
Yes, in for repeat. I didn't hear what you were saying on Hanover.
As I said before the last time you were here, I leave both seats for election night. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Even though I fancy Dave Brown's chance of winning, politics have a dynamics, and if what's your name, Jamaica is losing, Dave may be possibly in trouble because of that wave may swept across the parish.
Get me a drink, please.
Yes,
Get me
I think Dave Brown may have a better cushion.
Yes, he have a better cushion, but I don't want that wave, because you know that wave will swept across the parish, that euphoria. You understand?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's like the West. The wave in the West is favoring the JLP, and Hanover is a part of the West.
Exactly.
I think Tamika Davis is more surviving the wave than create. I think the PNP in Western Hanover is more likely to survive a wave than create a wave.
I think you're right on that, in the case. I'm not looking in that department, but it's going to be a fight down to the wire. Tamika Davis is a lawyer, and lawyers are very strategic and they know the numbers, because you cannot be a lawyer, you don't know numbers. The next lady who's saying you have him man them, she's a lawyer as well, but she seems like she's one of the dunce lawyer. So let us see what we work out, no lawyer versus lawyer. So let us see it's work out.
Let's move on, Casey. Let's jump over to St. James. Let's go to St. James.
Infomedia take St. James, you will not make any mistake.
But I never make any mistake.
You cannot be over optimistic in St.
No,
James.
I cannot over optimistic. As I said to you before, as how strong St. Elizabeth is, I think St. James is twice as strong as St. Elizabeth. Hello, neighbor. It's a fight.
I keep on telling Politics Plus that St. James is the JLP strongest
It's
parish.
a strong JLP parish. St. James is one of the strongest parish for the Jamaica Labour Party. They will win 5-0. You can take that to the bank.
5-0 St. James. The Jamaica Labour Party will win all 5 seats in St. James. Infomedia.
It's surprising to you. they will win all 5 seats in St. James. The parish of St. James said tata to PNP.
Yes?
Tata. Some people don't want to live with the truth, you know. Some people don't want to live with it. And let me go further. I think the Prime Minister of this country and the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party he has damaged some of the PNP mentally. I think they need to see some psychiatric treatment. A lot of the PNP supporters are really off their rockers. They are crazy. What they say and what they do, you question their levels of thinking and where their mindset are. I am telling you, a lot of PNP supporters are suffering from some serious dementia. They need to see some needs. I tell you, it's very serious. Check social media now, the PNP type how they comment, you know that they are suffering upstairs. Something is definitely wrong with the PNP supporters. It may sound like a joke to you, but it's a serious thing, you know, neighbor. The PNP supporters, they need some serious psychiatric treatment. Can you imagine now that they are going off their rockers? Check them on election night. Some maybe walk out in a speeding Tata or a speeding vehicle.
Casey?
Yes,
And winning any seat in St. James is like a snowball in hell.
That's not very good at all. Don't last a long time.
the closest seat in St. James will be St. James Southern.
That's the closest one.
Homer Davis will take it. The longer the campaign goes, the stronger Homer Davis gets.
It's stronger Homer.
The more Nikisha Burchell shows that she only has a good shape, but she don't sound too good on the political platform at all. If you can be able to close your eyes for a bit and listen, she will turn you off. She don't.
When you're listening to Miss Burchell, you have to keep your eyes open.
Well, if you keep your eyes open, you might see something you like. But otherwise, she don't.
Like
she
what?
don't.
The 3B.
She shape better than she sounds.
What is saying to me?
Yes. And
well, I need to look.
It's like a pandemic taking over the PNP, and they are really suffering from some form of
Honestly, neighbor,
mental depravity. If you hear what's coming from the platform, and it's like a bad plan. It's like they said, these are the things we're going to use, so everybody have to be singing the same tune.
Yeah, bring Miss Burchell.
Nobody is being different, and Miss Burchell have been a part of it of late.
Burchell. Bring Miss Burchell up. Yes, let me see her. Well, I'm having them bring up Miss Burchell. You said that she looks nice. Bring her up for me. Put her on the screen. Yes. Wow. I tell you. Okay. Let's Tari.
Neighbor, I'm here.
You are there. We're going to go to Trelawny, and we're ending in Trelawny. It's 8:30. Final one,
Okay.
Casey.
Hello?
Final one, Trelawny.
Okay,
For tonight.
Trelawny. Take not Trelawny in for me that Tova Hamilton versus your favorite damage coach.
You know, Wicca McNeil is a steady rum drinker like myself. I only drink Campari. But I don't understand why Wicca would take a seat in Trelawny and he's coming from Westmoreland. When you are politically damaged, you must know that you must live within yourself that you are damaged politically. You must not be politically crazy when you are damaged. And Wickham is not from Trelawny, and so he will be sent back to Westmoreland to clean up the mess he left there. So it's going to be 2-0 in a safe 2-0 for Trelawny, for the Labour Party.
Casey, that's Trelawny for Politics Plus.
Tova Hamilton have shown that she's a capable MP and she have put all her predecessors to shame based on the work she have done over the past 4 years in a tenure where the country was plagued by a pandemic for much of it. That's a plus for Tova. Now Trelawny, like Westmoreland Central, has been voting for PNP over the years, but it has a strong JLP support. A study 9,000, 8,000 JLP. But when PNP was popular and reaching the heights of 10,000, 10,500, sometimes 11,000 in those years, the JLP couldn't match them. I don't see any PNP candidate nor the PNP party pulling out 10,000 and 11,000 votes in either Central, Westmoreland, nor Trelawny Northern in 2025. And I think that's a big problem for the PNP. I don't think we McNeil will match Tova Hamilton and Andrew Holness on election night. Unless the Tova Hamilton machinery is not as strong as the other JLP candidates.
All right. I think Tari, let's review what we have, and we have to invite the listeners to come back tomorrow to complete this.
Yes,
Go
Nick,
ahead,
are you
Tari.
guys hearing me? All right, lovely. So, listeners, once again, we going across the island and essentially numbering the seats that each party will have in the various parishes, and we've done, let's see, 8 parishes tonight. So far, 28 constituencies have been covered. So I'm gonna start from St. Thomas. In St. Thomas, the Labour Party is expected to retain both seats. In St. Thomas Western, James Robertson is expected to defeat the PNP's Hubert Williams, where in St. Thomas Eastern, the JLP's Michelle Charles is expected to defeat the PNP's Yvonne Rosemary Shaw. We then go to Clarendon, where in Clarendon, the Labour Party is expected to retain all 5 seats that it has, and the PNP is expected to retain the 1 seat that it has. I'll tell you the 5. The Labour Party is expected to retain Clarendon Central with Delroy Williams. He will defeat Carla Watt. In Clarendon Northern, Dwight Sibley's of the JLP expected to retain, defeating Anthony O'Connor of the PNP. In Clarendon North Central, Works Minister Robert Nesta Morgan of the JLP is expected to retain it and defeat the PNP's O.J. Dixon. In Clarendon Northwestern, the JLP's Warren Newby is expected to defeat the PNP's Richard Azan. And in Clarendon Southeastern, the JLP's Pernell Charles Jr. is expected to defeat the PNP's Sean Barneswell, Councillor Barneswell. In Clarendon Southwestern, the PNP's Lothan Cousins is expected to defeat the Labour Party's Robert Chin. As you know, Robert Chin would be coming from Manchester Southern as their current MP. We then move on to actually Manchester, where in Manchester, the Labour Party is expected to retain 2 seats. They're expected to retain Manchester Central with Rhoda Moy Crawford defeating Donovan Mitchell, and Manchester North Eastern with Audrey Marks defeating Valentin Wint. The Jamaica Labour Party is also expected to flip Manchester Northwestern with their candidate Damian Young defeating current People's National Party MP Michael Phillips, whereas in Manchester Southern it is the reverse, where the National Party's candidate Peter Bunting is expected to flip that seat for the PNP, defeating the JLP's Ian Ives. We then move on to St. Elizabeth, where the Jamaica Labour Party is expected to win 4-love in St. Elizabeth. I will start with St. Elizabeth Northeastern, where the JLP's Delroy Slowly is expected to defeat Zulika Jet. In St. Elizabeth Northwestern, the JLP's Andrew Morris is expected to defeat the PNP's Kilimanjaro. In St. Elizabeth Southeastern, the JLP's Franklin Witter is expected to defeat PNP's Ian Stevenson. And in St. Elizabeth Southwestern, Bellwether seat, the JLP's Floyd Green is expected to defeat the PNP's Miranda Wellington. We then move on to Westmoreland, where in Westmoreland, there is one seat that can be safely called for the JLP. That's Westmoreland Central, where the JLP's John Wright is expected to defeat the PNP's Dwayne Vass. Well, that is if Dwayne Vass is still the PNP's candidate, but he's expected to defeat Dwayne Vass. The other two seats of Westmoreland Eastern and Western, those two seats are too close to call, but I'll give you the candidates for Westmoreland Eastern. The JLP's candidate, Danny Lawrence is going up against the PNP's Gensec Dayton Campbell, whilst in Westmoreland Western, former PNP councillor turned JLP councillor and candidate, Mr. Garfield James, is expected to go up against former MP for Hanover Western, Ian Hales. We now move to Hanover, where it is expected to be a one-all draw. So in Hanover Eastern, the JLP's Dave Brown expected to defeat the PNP's Andrea Perkis, whereas in Hanover Western, it's a reverse, where the PNP's Heather Miller Bennett, the switch and end up in a ditch candidate, is expected to defeat the JLP's Tamika Davis. In St. James, we're looking at a 5-love in St. James. So I'll begin with St. James Central. The JLP's Roy Clark is expected to defeat the PNP's tourism spokesperson Janice Allen. In St. James East Central, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett is expected to defeat the PNP's Rochelle Reed Knott. In St. James Northwestern, the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, expected to Gordon House, defeating the PNP's Alan Bernard. In St. James West Central, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahou Fort, is expected to defeat Mr. Andre Houghton. And in St. James Southern, the top communication specialist, Nikisha Burchell. We now move on to Trelawny, where Trelawny, it's expected to also be 2-love. In Trelawny Northern, the JLP Stover Hamilton is expected to defeat Wickham McNeil, and the JLP's Marissa Dalrymple Philibert in Trelawny Southern is expected to defeat the PNP's Paul Patmore. So neighbor, tallying up the seats, 15, 16, 21, 23. The Jamaica Labour Party is currently at 23 seats to the People's National Party 3 seats.
Total seats?
With two close to call, so that would be 8 seats.
28 we have done tonight?
Yes, 14, 15. Yeah, 23, that's 26 plus 2, 28, right? We have done 28
St. Anne would give you 32. Remember, there's a lot of constituency in St. Catherine and Kingston and St. Andrew.
True.
Yes. Let's do St. Anne and close. Let's do St. Anne and close. Go ahead, Case.
Infomedia takes St. Anne Southwest. Southwest, St. Anne.
Xavier Main will win by an increased margin. Very significant margin. A comfortable win by Xavier Main. That is expected. And the young Danishka, she will learn a political lesson. Female, we don't want to rough her somewhat. She's in a serious election. And I think the PNP has used her by placing her into mainland. I think the PNP, let me repeat myself again, Nick. They don't even understand me. I think the PNP has used young Ganishka Williams by land.
I got you. Mainland.
Yes.
Xavier Main. Yes, Casey, let's complete the other three.
Yes, so would also take Northeast, Matthew Samuda.
Let me take Northeast. I am a bit worried. I'm wondering if Northeast can carry that they used to. Shine Younger once dip in the 2011 election. I guess the number, I think Matthew Samuda is honest with you. But they will win because it's a safe JLP seat and there are 4 councillors for her. And one of the most hardworking member of parliament, if she gets her campaign machinery right, which I know she does, she should be winning by a comfortable 1,500 votes.
And then the only left there now would be Southeastern.
I'm going to say something may shock all of you. I expect a JLP clean sweep in St. Anne. What you leading back for your neighbor?
You expect a what, sir?
I expect a JLP.
St. Anne Southeastern is going to be won by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes, sir, neighbor. I think the JLP will win all 4 seats. The young man, Adrian Peart, once he gets his machine, I mean, me a leading about me give you front runner. Me a leading about the boss now, but me a lead you. What are you the boss?
You lead me?
What are you the boss?
Oh boy, thank you so much. Thank you so much, info. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Tari?
Yes, people. Yes, neighbor, I'm here.
Yeah, let's do a quick recap and we're gonna have to go. Thank you.
All right, so listeners, expected. We have done 32. No, apologies. In St. Thomas, the Jamaica Labour Party is expected to retain both with James Robertson of the JLP defeating Hubert Williams of the People's Party, and Dr. Michelle Charles of the Jamaica Labour Party defeating Rosemary Shaw. So the 2 seats in St. Thomas expected to go back to the Jamaica Labour Party. In Clarendon, not much change there. The 5 seats that the JLP have. Clarendon Central for Delroy Williams defeating Carla Watts. Clarendon Northern for Dwight Sibley's defeating Anthony O'Connor. Clarendon North Central for Robert Nestor Morgan for defeating Ajay Dixon. Clarendon Northwestern for Warren Newby defeating Richard Azan, and Clarendon Southeastern for Pernell Charles Jr. defeating Cheyenne Barneswell. Those 5 seats are expected to go back to the Jamaica Labour Party. Clarendon Southwestern is the only seat expected party where the PNP's Lothan Cousins will defeat the a member of parliament in Eats and Flip 1 were expected to retain Manchester Central with Rhoda Moy Crawford defeating Donovan Mitchell. Manchester Northeastern, Audrey Marks, defeat candidate Damian Young would be defeating the PNP's member of parliament Michael Phillips. For Manchester Southern, the opposite is expected to happen, where the PNP's Peter Bunting is expected to flip that seat from the Jamaica Labour Party, defeating the JLP's Ian Adams. In St. Elizabeth, it's expected to be for love, clean sweep for the Labour Party, whereas in St. Elizabeth Northeastern, Delroy Slowly will be defeating Zulika Jess. In St. Elizabeth Northwestern, the JLP's Andrew Morris will defeat Mugabe Kilimanjaro of the PNP. In St. Elizabeth Southeastern, the JLP's Franklin Whittle will be defeating the PNP's Ian Stevenson. And in St. Elizabeth Southwestern Bellwether seat, the JLP's Floyd Green is expected to defeat the PNP's Miranda Wellington. In Hanover, where am I? My apologies. In Westmoreland, actually, Westmoreland Central is expected to remain with the Jamaica Labour Party. The JLP's George Wright will be defeating the PNP's Dwayne Vaz. Westmoreland Eastern and Westmoreland Western, respectively, are too close to call, but the JLP's
Don't know what is happening.
Daniel Dambu is candidate. You're not hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
You hear? Okay. What last did I say when you heard me?
You were in St. Elizabeth.
I was, all right. So I was saying clean sweep in St. Elizabeth there. Yes. So I was moving on to Westmoreland. I was saying that in Westmoreland Central, we can expect Central Westmoreland to remain with the Jamaica Labour Party, and George Wright will be defeating the PNP's Dwayne Vaz. Westmoreland Eastern and Westmoreland Western, respectively, those seats are too close to call. The JLP's Danny Lawrence in Westmoreland Eastern will be going up against the PNP's Dayton Campbell, whilst the JLP's Garfield James, former PNP councillor, now JLP councillor, in Westmoreland Western will be going up against the PNP's Ian Hales. In Hanover, 1-1 in Hanover, the PNP is expected to flip Hanover Western, where the PNP's Heather Miller Bennett switch and end up in a ditch. Will be expected to defeat the JLP's Tamika Davis, whilst in Hanover Eastern, expected to remain with the Jamaica Labour Party, where the JLP's Dave Brown defeats the PNP's Andrea Perkis. In St. James, it's expected to be another clean sweep for the Jamaica Labour Party. In St. James Central, Heroy Clark is expected to defeat the PNP's Janice Allen. St. James East Central, Edmund Bartlett expected to defeat the PNP's Rochelle Reed Knott. St. James Northwestern, JLP's Dr. Horace Chang is expected to defeat the PNP's Alan Bernard. In St. James Southern, the JLP's Homer Davis is expected to defeat the PNP's Nikisha Burchell. And in St. James West Central, the JLP's Marlene Malahoo Fort is expected to defeat Andre Martin. In Trelawny, another clean sweep, 2-love for the Jamaica Labour Party. Trelawny Northern, the JLP's Tova Hamilton expected to defeat Mr. Wickham Neil, whilst in Trelawny Southern, the JLP's Marissa Dalrymple Philibert is expected to defeat the PNP's Paul Patmore. In St. Anne, the Jamaica Labour Party is expected to keep the 3 seats that they already have. St. Anne Northeastern, Matthew Samuda will be defeating PNP's Ryan Simpson. Ryan Simpson is also a former member of the Jamaica Labour Party, for those who don't know. In St. Anne Northwestern, Krista getting a challenge from PNP's Gabriella Morris, but she's expected to hold her own down there. And in St. Anne Southwestern, the Jamaica Labour Party's Xavier Main is expected to defeat the PNP's Danishka Williams. In St. Anne Southeastern, the PNP's Dr. Kenneth Rosso is expected to defeat the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate in Adrian Pierce. So going back to the numbers as of now, the Jamaica Labour Party has 26 seats. The People's National Party has 4 seats, and there are 2 seats that are too close to call. And the total number of seats that would have been explored or done tonight or called tonight would be 32 seats.
32. All right, listeners, you're gonna have to come back tomorrow. We're gonna complete the seats, and then we are going to tell you exactly where the elections stand. All right. Let's. If there's anyone online that wants to, we have 8 minutes. Casey?
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it there for tonight. You hear, Casey?
Yes.
Until tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, neighbor.
Good night. Sleep well, guys.
Cool. Big up to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, we have 8 minutes actually, 7 minutes actually, Tari. I don't know if any of our listeners want to make a comment on the forecast tonight. The very interesting forecast. People are joining us all the time, and people are asking about parishes. Well, we went through them already, okay? So you have to come back tomorrow, just about 6 o'clock, when we will complete the island and give you a better perspective in terms of what is happening. But very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. We're happy that you were able to join us. And Tari?
Yes, neighbor.
How are you? How are you doing, man? What's been happening to you?
I'm doing well, neighbor. Doing well. What's been happening? I'm still here. Still here. I'm really still here.
Yeah. On holidays now?
Yes, I'm on holiday. No, school would have last week Friday, I believe they had closing ceremony for everyone, so school is officially closed. So I am on holiday, although I've been on holiday since the end of my Cape examinations. So
yes. All right then. Have a great night. You hear? I'm gonna sign off. Until tomorrow, Tari.
Yes, neighbor. Yeah, man.
Take
until
care.
tomorrow. Good night, neighbor. Good night, listeners. Take care, listeners. Walk good.
Yes.
Neighbor will go. Well, I don't know if tomorrow would be the time, but I have some stuff I want to discuss with the listeners. I don't know if tomorrow would be the time, but we'll see.
We're gonna run the forecast tomorrow.
Right,
and I think
right.
because we have covered much of it tonight, then tomorrow will be easier for us. So what we can do is to is to do that quickly and then take the views. I was able to do the neighbors no tonight, but we'll do that tomorrow. All right.
Yes, neighbor.
Take care. Bye bye.